Hello students, good evening. So today I would like to discuss on plant propagation. So this chapter is very important for examination point of view. So I think in practical class already I discussed here about cuttings and different types of vegetative propagation. But again I want to start from the beginning, those who have missed the class. So there are two types of propagation. One is sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. So asexual method of propagation is also known as vegetative propagation. So first I will discuss on asexual method of propagation followed by sexual reproduction or propagation by sexual methods. So in case of asexual method, so as you know propagation of the plants are done by the vegetative portion of the mother plant instead of seeds. So here seeds are not at all used. So you have to use only vegetative portion, either leaf or root or stem, so whatever it may be. So there are certain advantages on or of vegetative propagation. The first is in some fruits like banana which do not bear seeds, and this is the only method of propagation. So as you know banana is propagated by suckers, rhizomes. So here seeds, because seeds, even you might have seen the some seeds in banana, but that seeds are not viable. If you grow the seeds into the soil, it will not germinate. So that's why in this case only method is vegetative propagation. Second advantage is the plants are generally two to type, uniform in the growth, yielding capacity and fruit quality. So that is called you are telling clonal propagation. So suppose some plants are high yielding variety like dwarf Cavendish in case of banana. So you take that plant and start growing, start multiplying from the suckers. So you will get thousands of plants from the single plants. So this is the again important, that your plant is two to type if you use or if you propagate by the asexual reproduction. Now third is they have short juvenile phase, thus come into bearing earlier than seedling plants. So in case of seedling plants, it will take time to bear the fruits or flowers. But in case of vegetative propagation, it will we will get the fruits in short period of time. Now fourth is the advantage of root stock can be obtained by budding or grafting susceptible varieties on the resistant and tolerant root stock. So you can make the different soya and root stock and making the different what you call you can develop different plants. Now fifth is plant have restricted growth, thus cultural practices and harvesting are easy. So again these are the importance over the sexual. Now disadvantages. So new variety cannot be evolved by this method because you are not going to cross, because this is the only article grafting or cutting or layering. So you are going to cut. So here crossing is not possible. That's why you cannot derive the new varieties uh, from this. Plants are not so vigorous and long-lived as the seedling trees. So if you grow the seeds, so they are so vigorous and long-lived. Third is the germplasm conservation requires a lot of space and is expensive as compared to the storage of seeds. So in case of sexual methods of propagation, you can just store the seed in a small space. But in case of vegetative propagation, if you want to keep or if you want to store for longer period of time, it requires more space. So these are the advantage and disadvantage. So now I will see, or you will see, vegetative propagation. So first is cutting. So already I have shown in the practical classes. So cutting means it is the method of asexual propagation in which plant parts such as stem, root, leaf is cut from the parent plant and placed under favorable condition to form root and shoot, and thus producing a new independent plant. So I have shown you, I have already shown you in case of Vasaka. So what you did, just we cut the stem portion and you have planted into the soil, and after 10 to 15 days, again it will form root and shoot and develop new plants. So this is the advantage of cuttings. So if you again suppose take the seeds and if you grow, it will take time. So again it is going to minimize the cost of production. So what are the advantages? So it is the cheapest method of asexual method of propagation. And secondly, it is used for clonal multiplication of root stocks. So you can multiply at the ladder scale. So this is the first cutting. And different types of cutting. So you have stem cutting, you have root cuttings, you have leaf cuttings. So just stem cutting, just to cut the one stem portion and just uh, put into the soil. So it will give root and shoots, and finally it will become independent plants. Again root cuttings. So just you cut the roots and put into the soil, so they will give new leaves. Leaf cutting. So just I was discussing you one day. So leaf cutting, the best method is your bryophyllum, that is called in Hindi patha chatta. So this is the plant propagation is done by even leaf also. So just take the leaf and put into the soil. It will give new plants. That is called bryophyllum. Second we will discuss is layering. So layering is again development of roots on the stem. So try to understand development of roots on the stem while it is still attached to the parent plant. So see, in case of cutting, just you are cutting the parent plant, and again you are going to sow into the different place, not the same place. You are going to plant it at the pot or the soil at different place, not within the plant. So here development of roots on the stem while it is still attached to the parent plant. So this is the difference. So if somebody will ask what is the difference between cutting and layering, so cutting means you can develop new plants, new roots on the same plant. So how it is possible? So rooted stem is then reached to become a new plant growing on its own roots. So if you see the figure, like layering is the nothing but taking a branch and placing it on the soil. So you can see, just bend the branch and just bury into the soil, and after some time it will develop the roots. Then what you do? You have to do just detach it by cutting it. So this will become independent plants. So this is the beauty of layering. So stone layering is also used for the clonal propagation. So again we will see different types of layering. So first is simple layering, second is compound layering, third is mound layering, and fourth is air layering. So I have already inserted the photographs. So if you see, it will be very easy to understand. So in first case, that is called simple layering or tongue layering. So in this method, a branch is bent to the ground. So just you see the figure, and some portion of it is covered by the soil, leaving the terminal and branch exposed. You can see, take the one portion and just bury into the soil and bend in the soil and just cover it. Okay. So after the root initiation, so you can see now roots starts coming, started coming. So after allowing the sufficient time, the layer is separated from the mother plant by cutting the layered shoots. So this is practice in case of guava jasmine. So you can see it is very easy. Even you can perform at your home also, because many students are not coming for the practical classes due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So you can perform this kind of experiment at your home. So that is called simple layering. Now come compound layering. So you can see difference between simple layering and compound layering. So in compound layering, this is also known as serpentine layering. So which is similar to simple layering, but several layers can result from a single stem. So you can see. So you have, you have just covered the soil at the different places, and each places the new plants are just arised. So bend the stem to the rooting medium as for the simple layering, but alternatively cover and expose sections of the stem, and each section should have at least one bud exposed and one bud covered with the soil. So why it is so? Because the whenever you are budding the one bud into the soil, it will give roots, and whatever exposed bud will be there, that will give rise to the shoots. So on the lower side of the each stem section to be covered. So this is the thing. So you can do multiple type of layering. That is called compound layering. So I think you understood by seeing the picture. To the mound is two layering. So here again there is slight difference. So in this method, plant is cut back at the ground during the dormant season, and soil is covered at the base of the newly developing shoots. So sometimes what you are doing, just you are cutting the plant at the bottom, and just you place the soil, just place the soil. So in favorable condition, what happens after allowing the sufficient time for root initiation, the rooted shoots are separated and taken as the individual layers. So just you can separate it and grow as the separate plants. So that is called mound stool layering. Now come to the next, that is called air layering. So a name indicates. So here there is no connection with the soil. So in air layering, roots form on aerial shoots. So again I am telling, see, this is the misformation of roots on the aerial shoots. Aerial shoots means those who are hanging in the air. There is no connection with the soil. So the rooting medium will be tied to the shoots for getting root initiation. And best rooting medium for air layering is the sphagnum moss. So you might have heard that sphagnum moss is good for the what it will supply the nutrients to the layer shoots. So it holds large amount of water so as to supply moisture to the layer shoots till proper root initiation take place. So what you have to do? Just you have to what you call make the some cut and put the sphagnum moss. So it will give rise to the roots, and again you cut it. So you can see here step by step. So removing epidermis for layering, then packing moss around area to provide moisture, because the moss will provide moisture to the plant or moisture to that particular area, and wrap in the saran wrap. Saran wrap is also known as cling wrap to keep moisture in. Then removing saran wrap to see new roots and buds. So now new buds with the roots. So now you can plant at different places. That is called air layering. Now, so this is called layering. So just I told you first there is cutting, then layering. So I think it too you understood. So now I will start with the grafting. So again, grafting nowadays is very important methods of the plant propagation, and nowadays many grafted plants are being grown or sown in different places. Like in case of citrus, mango, grafting is become a routine wise methods. And grafted plants. Suppose if you develop plant from the seeds, maybe if you go to the what you call um, garden, or if you go to the some nursery, you will get the plant at the lesser price. But when grafted plants you will demand, so you will get at the higher price. So again I will discuss what is the grafted plants. So grafting is the art of uniting or joining the parts of two independent plant. So here again I am telling, now you have to think in some advanced way. Like in case of cutting, just you are cutting and just putting into the soil. In case of layering, either same stem just what you call inserting into the soil, and they are giving new roots or shoots. But in case of grafting, always remember, always we need to have two independent plants. So art of uniting and joining the parts of two independent plants in such a manner that they unite together and develop into single independent plants. So means you have to unite two different individuals, and finally it will give rise to the single independent plants. So part of graft which is to become the shoot. So again here I will discuss two words, that is called scion and second is called rootstock. So the part of graft which is to become the shoot system is called scion, and the part which is to become root system, it is called rootstock. So here again I am telling, so when you combine rootstock and scion, it will become a single independent plant. So now you see. So to understand grafting, I already told you you need to have three different things. So first is called rootstock. So that part of a tree which becomes the root system of a grafted or budded tree. Then scion, it is the piece of last year growth with 3 or 4 buds. The part inserted on the stalk to understand grafting. So here scion is placed at the root stalk. And third is cambium. The cambium is nothing but it is the growing part of the tree located between the wood and the bark. So this is the again part of the vascular bundles. We will discuss type of grafting. So here I am going to discuss different types of grafting. So everywhere you will see how scion is placed at the root stalk by giving different graft. Now we will see first we will see cleft graft. So if you see the figures you will easily understand. So here this is the simplest and most popular form of grafting, that is called cleft graft, and it is the method for top working both flowering and fruiting trees. So you can practice cleft graft in case of apple, cherries, pears, peaches in order to change the varieties. So here the root stock used for cleft grafting should range from 1 to 4 inches in diameter. Okay, so this is the root stock you can see here. So this is the root stock. Just cut the. Now this is already cut. This portion is there. So what you have to do? You have to the science would be about 1/4 inch in diameter. That is 1/4. Uh, Straight and long enough to have at least 3 buds. So you can see here. So how sand is inserted into the rootstock. So they are having at least 2 to 3 buds. So what happens? You have now you have rootstock. So make the cleft. So cleft means just make a cut and put the scion into the cut portion. So you can see. So after some time, or you have to join it by using the some wax. So after some time, you see new branches are start started coming. So this is called cleft graft. So just you can see the figures. Figures are very important. That's why I have added the figures. Just you have to make the cut and just you have to make the cleft, and after that you have to insert the scion into it. And after some time you see the plants are coming from that particular area. So that is called cleft. Come to the bark graft. So again, as name indicates, bark means we are going to put the scion into the bark. So this technique can be applied to the stalk of larger diameter. So you can see here that is called 4 to 12 inches. So here what you have to do, cut surface of root stalk and make a vertical slit through the bark where each scion can be inserted 2 inch long and spaced 1 inch apart. So you can see now we have the root stock. So you have to just remove the bark and you have to make the slit and you have to put all the scions. So prepare several scions for each graft and cut the base of the each scion to 1.5 to the 2 inch tapered wedge on the side only. So you can see the figure. So just what you have done, just you make the root stock and put the scion at the different places at certain interval. So again here you will, after some time you see the shoots are coming from that. That is called bark graft. Now next is side veneer graft. So side veneer graft is usually done on the potted rootstock. So make a shallow downward cut about 3/4 inch to 1 inch long at the base of the stem on the potted rootstock to expose a flap of bark with some wood still attached, and make an inward cut at base so that flap of bark and wood can be removed from the rootstock. Figure again. So this is again a small still, like choose the scion with diameter and make the sloping cut and at the base of the scion. So you can see remove the wedge from the rootstock and fit the scion into place, adapt the union and seal with wax. So you can see just by seeing the figures you can understand. So after some time you will see that particular scion is attached to that particular rootstock and it starts growing. Then splice graft. So splice graft means again you can see the figures. So how you just cut the article. Uh, so in a splice grafting, both the stalk and scion must be of the same diameter because you are going to fit together. So cut off the root stalk using a diagonal cut. So you can see you are just giving the diagonal cut, that is called 3/4 to 1 inch long, and make the same type of cut at the base of the scion and fit the scion to the stalk. So you see, very simple. Just diagonally cut, and so that it will fit together. I wrap this junction securely with a rubber grafting stripe or twine. So you can see after that it will become independent plants. So this is the splice graft. Whip and tongue graft. So both the rootstock and scion should be equal size, preferably not more than half inch in diameter. So again you can see how it looks like. So cut off the stalk using a diagonal cut, and cuts should be 4 or 5 times longer than diameter of the stalk. So here this is the difference, and make the same kind of cut at the base of the scion. So this will finally become independent. Saddle graft. Bridge graft. So bridge graft is used to bridge a diseased or damaged area of the plant, usually at or near the base of the trunk. So here you have to select the scions that are straight and about twice as long as damaged area to the bridge. So make a half inch to the 2 inch long tapered cut on the same plane at the each end of the scion. Then splice graft. So splice graft means, again you can see the figure. So how you just cut the article. Uh, so in a splice grafting, both the stalk and scion must be. Now come to the inarc graft. So inarcing, like bridge grafting, is used to bypass or support a damaged or a weakened area of the plant system or plant stem. Unlike bridge grafting, the scion can be an existing shoot, sucker, or water sprout that is already growing below and extending above the injury. So here a scion may also be shoot of the same species as the injured plant growing on its own root system next to the main trunk of the damaged tree. So you understand. You can see now this is the damaged basal portion of the tree trunk. So injured area prepare to be receive scions. So just you have to remove, because that particular portion is going to be damaged. So you have to clean it. You have to, and what you have to do? Scion planted next to the injured tree. So now you have to plant it. So after that it will become independent plants. Figure again. So this is again a small seed, like choose the scion with diameter and make the sloping cut and at the base of the scion. So you can see, remove the wedge from the stalk and fit the scion into place, adapt the union and seal with wax. So you can see, just by seeing the figures you can understand. So after some time you will see that particular scion is attached to the that particular root stock, and it starts growing. So at the point where 2 points will plants will join, 1 to 2 inch long slice of bark is cut. So just I was telling, just you have to cut a small bark of the stem, and two stems are bound together with the areas torching using maybe wrapping material. So you can see this is the cut one, this is the cut two, this is the stalk, and this is the scion. Just you have to wrap it. This will become independent plant. Now, what are the advantages of grafting? So I told you that nowadays grafting plants are, you will get the grafting plants at a higher price as compared to the normal seed derived plants. So now first is dwarfing. So first important advantage of grafting is dwarfing. So to induce grafting or dwarfing or cold tolerance or other characteristics to the scion. Second is ease of propagation, because the scion is difficult to propagate vegetatively by other means such as by cuttings. Third is hybrid breeding, to speed maturity of hybrid in a fruit tree breeding programs. So hybrid seedlings may take 10 or more years to flower and fruits on their own roots. So grafting can reduce the time to the flowering and shorten the breeding program. So I was telling that this is going to the cut short the duration of the crop. And second is hardiness, because the scion has weak roots or the roots of the stock plants have root tolerant of difficult conditions. Now come to the sturdiness. So to provide a strong, tall trunk for certain ornamental shrubs and trees. Again, repair. To repair damage to the trunk of a tree that would prevent nutrient flow, such as stripping of the bark by rodents that completely grill the tank. So I told you, yeah, just you have to remove the portion and put the scion. Then changing the cultivar. To change the cultivar in a fruit orchard to a more profitable cultivar called top working. So it may be faster to graft a new cultivar onto existing limbs of established tree than to replant an entire orchard. So you can change the cultivar. Now come to the maintain consistency. Say apples are notorious for their genetic variability, even different in multiple characteristics like size, color, flavor, or of fruits located on the same tree. So pollen source. So to provide pollinators, for example, in tightly planted or badly planted apple orchards of single variety, limbs of crab apple may be grafted at regularly spaced interval onto tree down. So every fourth tree. So we are multiplying the mango tree. So now next method after cutting, then layering, then grafting. So cutting is the first, second is the layering, and third is the grafting. The fourth is budding. So this is now also become very important methods for plant propagation. So in case of budding, this is also method of grafting wherein only one bud with piece of bark and with or without wood is used as a scion material. So it is also called as bud grafting. So plant successful union of stalk and bud is called budding. So now we see different uh, budding. So how we are going to prepare the root stock? The root stock should be 3 by 16 to 7 by 16 inch caliper. Leaves and side branches must be removed. Remove any soil from the root stock, and root stock should be clean. Dormant root stock can be used. So now preparation of the budwood. So collect the budwood or scion in the days while temperature is cool. Mature buds are most desirable. Then discard terminal and younger buds. Remove the leaves but keep the petioles. Petioles, I think spelling is mistake. And bud sticks should be prepared in a cool shaded area. So now we'll different types of budding. So now first an important method is called tea budding, or sometimes we can call seal budding. So sometimes in examination you may get seal budding or tea budding. So don't confuse. So in case of tea budding, so again here I am telling that is very easy way of remembering. So tea means you should make a cut like T shape. So if you see the photographs, so what happens here? So just you make the T shape and your scion should be like T shape only, so that it can be fit here. So tea budding is a special grafting techniques in which scion piece is reduced to a single bud. So here you are not going to cut the whole scion. Here you have to take the bud, take the bud and put what call like just tea cut and put the your bud into the that particular area. So here the cut should begin about half to the 3 by 4th inch below the bud. So budding knives should be kept very sharp, and if the bark does not slip easily, this indicates that bark is not in active growth. So that first you have to check whether bark is good or not. So you can see the tree budding how it looks like. Just you have to give the cut, and you have to put one scion with the buds and just tie it. So it will that particular bud will give shoots. Then come to the inverted tea budding. So in earlier cases your tea budding was normal condition. Here you have to just give the opposite cut. So it is similar to the tea budding in that both methods of budding follow the same incision on the rootstock. Incision is cut and bud stick, except that inverted T, the horizontal cut is made at the bottom of the vertical cut, and this is done to prevent the possible entry of water from the top of the tree cut, which may cause rotting of the shield shape. So sometimes it happens, so that water is not accumulate, so that propagation will be easy. Now come to the chip budding. So again you can see here, so how we have made the cut. So chip budding season is longer than tea budding season. So first cut on both stalk and scion is made at a 45 to 60 degree angle downward to a depth of 1 by 8 inch. So cut on the both the scion and the root stock should be exactly the same. And wrapping is extremely important in case of chip budding. So that if you want to wrap, so maybe there is chances of falling. So just you make the insert. So you just by if you see the figures, I think it will be very easy to understand. So just you have to cut it, and you have to take the scion with buds and put into that, and finally you have to wrap it. Now come to the eye budding. So again you have to make the cut in form of or in shape of eye. So it is the method of budding in which incision in the shape of eye is made in the bark of the rootstock. A rectangular bud is then inserted. So after making the eye cut, you have to insert the rectangular bud into that. So it will fit. Then now come to the fruit budding. So here the bark is removed from the stem of the rootstock, almost completely encircles it, except that there remain a narrow strip of the bark, the rootstock, that connects the upper and lower parts of the rootstock. So you can see here how are going to fit the scion into the rootstock, and that particular scion is having the 3-4 buds. Different types of budding. So now first an important method is called tea budding, or sometimes we can call seal budding. So sometimes in examination you may get seal budding or tea budding. So don't confuse. So in case of tea budding, so again here I am telling that is very easy way of remembering. So tea means you should make a cut like T shape. So if you see the photographs, so what happens here? So just you make the T. Now after the different types of budding, now we have here you are not going to follow any kind of cutting or layering or grafting. Here you have to use a specialized structure, then only you can get the new plants. So propagation through the specialized vegetative structure. So you may get question in different forms, like what is the cutting, what is the layering, what is the grafting, like different types of grafting, why grafting is important. So these questions may come in the examination. Now you may get separate question as what is the propagation methods through a specialized vegetative structure. So sometimes I was telling you in the class ki even you can grow the plants not by using seeds or cuttings. You have to use some specialized structure. So there are certain plant modification which are used for vegetative progression of the plant, and these modified plant parts may be stem, root, or leaves, or usually specialized for food storage. So two principal methods are used for propagation of plants by using these modifications. So first is separation. So here naturally detachable structures such as bulbs, combs are separated and planted individually. So this is the first method. So you have to detach the structure such as bulbs, combs, and again plant individually. So I will give the examples. Now second is called division. The modifications such as rhizomes, tubers are cut into the sections to obtain new plants from each section. So specialized structure, the propagation by specialized structure is based on the two principal methods. First is called separation and second is called division. So first we will see, you can see bulb. So many times you have seen, like in case of if you want to plant uh, like daffodils, onion, garlic, so you have to use bulblets, or that is called daughter bulbs. So if you see the figures, so one bulb has different bulblets. So you have to remove the bulblets and put in the soil. Like in case of lily also, you can see, so small bulbs are there. So you are planting into the soil, and it will give rise to the whole plants. So bulbs are produced by monocotyledonous plants in which the stem is modified for storage and reproduction. And bulb is very specialized underground organ consisting of short, fleshy, freshly, usually vertical stem axis bearing at a tip apex or growing points, and enclosed by thick fleshy scales. The bulb scales morphologically are continuous, sheathing leaf base, and growing point develop in the axils of these scales to produce miniature bulbs, that is called known as bulblets and daughter bulbs. So these daughter bulbs can be separated from the mother plant at the end of the growing season and used as a propagating material. So here, see, these are the lines are not so important. You have to understand how bulbs are grown. So you have to make the bulblets, or you have to take the bulblets and grow into the soil. So each bulblets will give one bulb. And examples are tulips, daffodils, foliantha, that is called tuberose, onion, garlic. So questions may come on that. Now, second is called tubers. So many times students get confusion. That potato is a stem or root. So this is the stem portion. So what happens? A tuber is the short terminal portion of an underground stem which has become thickened because of accumulation of reserved food material. So best example is potato. So you can see the figures. So propagation by potato can be carried out either by planting the whole tubers or by cutting into the section and is containing bud or eyes. So if you see the potato carefully, you will see there are many eyes. So what we are doing? Either you can just plant a whole tubers at one place, or based on the eyes, like suppose 5 eyes are there. So just cut into the 5 portion, and each portion should be sown into the soil, and each will give rise to the individual plants. That is called tubers. So here tubers, if you use potato seeds, I think you may get full plants. So that's why the propagation is done by tubers. Now come to the tuberous root. So certain herbaceous perennial produce thickened roots which contain large amount of stored food. The tuberous roots different from the tubers in such that they lack nodes and internodes. Adventitious buds are present only at the stem end or proximal end. Fibrous roots are produced towards the distal end, and these fleshy roots are separated and used for the propagation. So you can see here again, this is the best example is sweet potato. Rhizomes. So again rhizomes, like I told you, like in case of banana, in case of ginger, turmeric, cardamom, you can only propagate by using rhizomes or using rhizomes. So here you won't get seeds to propagate the banana or ginger or turmeric like that. So what are the rhizomes? Rhizomes are horizontal, thick and fleshy or slender and elongated stem growing underground are known as rhizomes. Rhizomes have nodes and internodes and readily produce adventitious roots. The rhizomes are cut into pieces, and each cut portion containing the vegetative buds can be transplanted. So you have to cut into the pieces, and it can be grown, and it will give rise to the new single plant. Now come to the combs. So again, just like rhizomes, combs are also a specialized structure. So comb is a solid underground base of the stem having the nodes and internodes and enclosed by dry scales like leaves. After flowering, one or more combs may develop just above the old one. So you can see here, one is called the main comb is there, and these are, you can see, these are all the new combs are there. So on the old combs, new combs have been formed. So you have to detach the new combs and plant into the new area. So these may be separated and grown for the 1 to 2 years to reach flowering stage. The best example is gladiolus. So just you have to detach the new combs and grow into the soil. So it will give rise to the whole plants. Runners. So again, runners are a specialized area stem. You can see, like if you see the figures, like best example is strawberry. So it is just run from one place to other place in the soil. So arising in the leaf axis of the plant having rosette crown. So here new plants arise from the nodes at the interval along with the runners. From these runners, more new runners may arise and thus developing natural clonal multiplication methods. The typical runner producing plant is strawberry, which is photosensitive with regards to its runner production. So long days favor runner production, whereas short days prevent runner formation. So here this is the important lines. So long days favor runner production, whereas short days prevent runner formation. So you have to take the new one, and or it will grow automatically from one place to other place. So you have to take let it call uh, long days favor the runner production. So you have to wait for the longer period of time. Suckers. So advantageous shoots from the underground portion of the stem and their horizontal root system are known as suckers. So when these strike roots, they may be utilized as a propagation material. So well developed suckers are dug out and separated from the mother plant and planted in the nursery for further growth. And suckers are usually treated like rooted layers. And best examples I was telling is banana, pineapple, chrysanthemum, even curry leaf also. So you have to take the suckers and go into the soil, and this will give rise to the. Then next is offshoots or offsets. So an offset is an shoot or thick stem of the rosette-like appearance arising from the base of the stem. You can see here. So best example is pineapple or date palm. Okay, so date palm cultivars are propagated by vegetative methods using separating away from the short shoots and replanting them. So you can see the date palm offshoots. Just separate the new shoots and plant it to the different place. However, these are the girdled and layered for about a year prior to separation, because offshoots do not form root easily when directly separated from the mother plant and planted in the field. So you have to wait for the some time, and you have to replant. Now, so these are the all about asexual method of reproduction, that is called vegetative reproduction. So already you have seen there are different types of vegetative reproduction or vegetative propagation, and different methods how plants are derived or different new plants are planted. So now what is the sexual method of propagation? So here just I was telling you कि plant are raised from the seeds. So here because seeds are available, so here no need to go for asexual methods. But many times asexual methods are more advantageous to the sexual method of reproduction. So what are the advantages? Advantages. So for evolution of new varieties through breeding. So I was telling you, for breeding you have to cross it. So hybrids are raised from the seeds. So in some fruits like papaya, this is the most popular method of propagation, because for papaya, in case of papaya, vegetative propagation is not possible. Seed propagated root stocks are hardy and develop better root system. Viruses do not transmit through seeds. Thus, mostly the seedlings are free from virus disease. So this is the another advantage of the propagation by the seeds. Occurrence of polyembryony. So more than one embryo in seeds in citrus, mango leads to development of uniform seedlings in case of asexual method. Now, what are the disadvantages? So seedlings have a long juvenile period and come into bearing later as compared to the asexual raised plants. And again, second, due to segregation of characters, progeny is not two to type. So this is the again one of the remarkable difference between the asexual method and sexual method. So they are the two to type. That is called clonal propagation. Here, your progeny not two to type, because sometimes maybe due to, in breeding depression, maybe due to the homozygosity or heterozygosity or recessive or dominant. So here there is chances of segregation, but like because F2 then F3 then F4, so here inbreeding will increase, or segregation will increase. So that is not the two to type. And thirdly, it is not economical to handle larger trees, a less number of trees can be accommodated per unit area, and cultural operations are difficult. So this is the main disadvantage. In nutshell, so again, asexual methods have their own advantage and sexual methods have their own advantage. Where asexual method is possible, you cannot use the seeds. So in that case, only sexual method, only vegetative propagation is only the solution. And wherever seeds are already available, so you cannot go for the asexual methods. But sometimes, you know, uh, due to the mate and demate, based on the preference, based on the time, based on the locations, methods are followed. Thank you.